Imagine you're just doom scrolling on your couch, like for 3 straight hours.
Oh, we have all been there.
Right. Your posture is terrible, your eyes are strained, and you're trapped in that weird digital paralysis where you know you should get up, but you just, well, don't.
You're completely stuck.
Exactly. And normally your smartwatch might sterilely vibrate your wrist with a notification that says, time to stand, and you probably just ignore it.
Oh, I swipe those away immediately.
Same. But instead of that, imagine a 4-legged robotic dog walks over. It looks up at you and gently rests its synthetic chin on your knee.
Wow.
It doesn't beep. It doesn't lecture you. It just waits. Welcome to the Deep Dive.
It's a great example to start with.
Thanks. Today we are pulling from a stack of tech industry white papers and a really fascinating core article titled Familiar Machines, The Rise of the Emotional Robot.
Which is such a compelling read.
It really is. Our mission today is to figure out how we are leaping from machines that just clean our floors to machines that, claim to understand our feelings.
And it is a massive technological and psychological pivot. I mean, for the last 2 decades, the contract we've had with household robotics has been strictly transactional.
You mean like I charge it, it vacuums?
Exactly. You provide electricity and basic maintenance, and the machine provides a clean rug or a secure front porch or, a perfectly adjusted thermostat. You basically ignore the machine until it breaks or gets stuck under the sofa.
Right. They're essentially just appliances with a better public relations department.
That's a good way to put it.
But the article we are looking at today highlights this new venture called Familiar Machines. And the reason this isn't just another piece of vaporware tech is the person behind it, Colin Angle.
Yes, the co-founder of iRobot.
Exactly, the guy who practically invented the era of the autonomous floor cleaning machine.
Which is, exactly why the industry is taking this so seriously. He understands mechanics of how humans and utility robots share a physical space better than almost anyone. So for him to launch a company entirely focused on emotional robotics, it tells us something profound about where artificial intelligence is heading.
It's a huge shift.
It really is.
Right.
We're moving from a paradigm where machines do things for us to a world where machines are simply with us.
Okay, let's unpack this hardware a bit. Because the inaugural concept they're proposing, which is simply called Familiar, is a huge departure from a vacuum cleaner.
To say the least.
Yeah, according to the white papers. Familiar is a 4-legged, pet-inspired robot. Its stated purpose is to learn your daily routines, interpret your human emotions, and provide what the company calls non-judgmental support.
That's the core mission.
But how does a machine actually do that? I mean, how does a collection of circuits and motors know that I'm, having a bad day?
That is where we get into a really fascinating field called affective computing.
Affective computing.
Right. In the past, if you wanted a machine to know you were stressed, you had to explicitly tell it. Or you had to wear a biometric device that measured your heart rate.
Like a fitness tracker.
Exactly. Familiar is designed to bypass wearables entirely. It uses high frame rate cameras and incredibly sensitive microphones to read your ambient physical cues.
Wait, ambient physical cues, you mean it's just watching how I look?
It's watching how you move, and it's looking for micro expressions you don't even know you're making.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Effective computing algorithms are trained to analyze things like the tension of the orbital muscles around your eyes. They track your blink rate, which actually changes when you're anxious.
I had no idea about the blink rate.
It's wild. The cameras are even sophisticated enough to detect subtle changes in the flushness of your skin to estimate your pulse.
You're kidding.
Nope. And at the same time, the microphones analyze the microtremors in your vocal cords when you speak.
That is just wild. So it's not merely looking to see if I'm frowning?
Not at all.
It's calculating a full biometric profile of my current stress level just based on how hard I'm clenching my jaw while I stare at my laptop.
Precisely. It is constantly establishing a baseline of your normal behavior, and then it's looking for deviations from that baseline that indicate stress or lethargy or frustration.
Okay, so let's say the effective computing works perfectly. It is calculated that I am stressed out and I've been sitting on the couch for 3 hours.
Right.
It decides it needs to intervene. This brings us to the communication design, which the source material details, and it completely flips the script on how we interact with smart devices.
It's totally counterintuitive.
Yeah, because this robot does not use speech at all.
None. There is absolutely no voice synthesis. It will never say hello, and it will never tell you what the weather is.
I have to push back on this design choice because, on paper, that sounds incredibly inefficient.
How so?
We have spent years perfecting natural language processing. My phone talks to me. My car talks to me. Why go through all the engineering trouble to build a highly complex machine that just pantomimes a pet?
It does seem like a step backward at first glance.
Right. Why wiggle a synthetic tail when it could just use an onboard speaker to say, hey, you've been sitting too long, you should go for a walk?
To understand that, we have to look at the underlying psychology of human defensiveness.
Okay.
Think about the smartwatch example you used at the start of our deep dive. When an automated voice or a text prompt tells you to do something, how do you typically react?
I usually swipe it away immediately. I know the prompt is right,
Yeah.
but I get vaguely annoyed that a piece of plastic is bossing me around.
And that annoyance, that is
No.
exactly the friction they are trying to engineer away.
Oh, interesting.
Speech from a machine, especially when it's directive or corrective, inherently feels commanding. It feels like a transaction where you are the subordinate being managed by an algorithm.
Nobody likes being managed by an algorithm.
Exactly. We possess a natural biological resistance to that kind of instruction. But by removing speech entirely and mimicking the physical behavior of a pet, like a gentle nudge against your leg or a little wag of a tail, the robot is designed to completely bypass our defensive reactions.
Okay, bypassing the defensive reflex makes sense psychologically, but practically. I'm a grown adult.
Sure.
I know it's a machine. I am not going to put down my phone and stop scrolling just because a piece of plastic bumped my knee.
You might consciously know it's a machine, but your subconscious biological responses are much harder to override.
Really?
Oh, yeah. The developers are pulling from decades of animal therapy data here. We are hardwired to respond to dependent care-seeking behaviors.
Like when a puppy wants attention.
Yes. When a dog drops a toy in your lap, it triggers the release of oxytocin in your brain. You don't feel judged for your screen time, you feel needed.
Wow, okay.
Familiar is attempting to hack that exact biological pathway. It relies on nonverbal physical gestures to offer gentle, non-judgmental support. It's persuasion through empathy rather than instruction.
That is a fascinating way to frame it. It's essentially hacking our biological response to cute, dependent creatures to get us to take better care of ourselves.
That's the goal.
But wait, if its entire method of communication relies on noticing my posture, my blink rate, or my micro-expressions, it must be staring at me constantly.
It is always observing.
It has to be an always-on surveillance device, just to know when to come over and nuzzle me.
Yes. The device must be hyper-observant to be effective. And that introduces the most significant hurdle for social robotics, the privacy puzzle.
Let's contextualize this for the listener's living room, because the article explicitly states, this device is designed to see, hear, and remember your routines.
Which sounds daunting.
It really does. Having a machine actively analyzing my subtle body language and listening to the micro tremors in my voice while I'm just sitting there, eating cereal that crosses a line from helpful to incredibly creepy.
Oh, absolutely.
If this data is being sent to some server farm in the cloud to be processed by an AI, that's a massive privacy nightmare.
Which is exactly why Familiar Machines is leaning heavily into a local-first approach. Right. They're very clear in their white papers that the data is processed directly on the hardware itself, rather than relying on constant cloud connectivity.
I want to understand the how of that. Because interpreting video feeds and vocal tremors using complex AI algorithms that requires massive computational power.
It does.
We're used to our home assistants sending our voice to the cloud because the tiny speaker on our kitchen counter isn't smart enough to process natural language on its own.
Right, the cloud does the heavy lifting.
So how does a small four-legged robot have the computational power to run advanced AI without draining its battery in 10 minutes or, sounding like a jet engine with cooling fans?
This is where we see a massive leap in what is called edge computing.
Edge computing, okay.
In the past, devices were basically just sensors that collected data and sent it to the brain in the cloud. Edge computing moves the brain into the device itself.
Ah, I see.
Familiar utilizes highly specialized neural processing units, or NPUs, built directly into its chassis. These chips are designed specifically to run AI models locally with extreme energy efficiency.
So it's all happening inside the robot.
Exactly. So the visual data of you slouching on the couch enters the camera, goes to the NPU, is translated into an emotional state, triggers a physical response from the robot, and then the raw video data is instantly discarded.
Oh, so it doesn't store the video.
No, it never leaves your living room.
Okay, think of it like this. Relying on cloud processing is like mailing your deeply personal diary every single day to a highly efficient team of psychologists in another state who read it, analyze it, and mail you back advice.
That's a great analogy.
Right, like it might work, but someone else has your diary and it could be intercepted in the mail.
Exactly the risk with cloud data.
But the local first edge computing approach is like having a psychologist locked inside your own house. The analysis still happens, but your diary never physically leaves the building.
That is spot on. The local first approach is an absolutely necessary mitigation strategy to prevent this highly sensitive biometric and emotional data from being intercepted by hackers or monetized by data brokers.
But does that technical solution actually solve the problem? Because honestly, even if I know the psychologist is locked in my house and the data isn't going to advertisers, I still know I'm being watched.
It's a fair point.
The psychological tension doesn't just disappear because the data is technically secure.
And that is the delicate balancing act they have to master. You're entirely correct. If you feel like you are under surveillance, your behavior changes.
You'd be on edge all the time?
Exactly. You become hyper-aware. You are no longer relaxed in your own space. And if you aren't relaxed, the emotional connection that robot is trying to build is dead on arrival.
It completely defeats the purpose.
Yes. The device has to be ever-present without feeling like a surveillance tool.
Which naturally leads us to ask what happens a month or a year down the line. Even if they nail the privacy and the effective computing works perfectly and the silent nuzzles actually get me to stand up.
A lot of ifs.
Right. Will I actually keep using it? We've all experienced the gadget drawer effect.
No, the dreaded gadget drawer.
You know what I mean? You buy a flashy new piece of tech, you play with it obsessively for 2 weeks, and then the novelty wears off. Eventually, it ends up collecting dust or sitting dead on a charging dock.
We all have one of those drawers.
So how does a highly sophisticated pet bot avoid becoming an extraordinarily expensive paperweight?
To avoid the gadget drawer, the technology has to cross the threshold from novelty to dependency.
Dependency, that's a strong word.
It is. The source material highlights a very specific demographic where this shift is most likely to occur and where the impact could be most substantial people living alone and the aging population.
Okay, yeah. For those groups, we aren't talking about the novelty of a cool toy. We're talking about mitigating genuine isolation.
Exactly. For a 25-year-old tech enthusiast, the robot might just be a novelty. But for an 80-year-old living alone whose mobility might be limited, that consistent companionship is huge.
It could change their day-to-day life.
It really could. Those gentle, nonverbal nudges to move around or stick to a routine aren't just convenient, they can be transformative. The true test of familiar isn't just the sophistication of the neural processors.
What is it?
The true test is the longevity of the emotional connection.
I see the value there. I mean, a lifeline to an isolated individual is a beautiful use of technology.
It absolutely is.
But I think we need to look really closely at the philosophical implications of what you just called dependency. We're talking about engineering an emotional bond with a machine.
Yes, we are.
If this works as intended, it provides a perfectly optimized, entirely frictionless relationship.
Frictionless is the key word there, and it raises profound ethical and societal questions.
Because humans are inherently messy, right? Real relationships require work. We have bad days, we miscommunicate, we get irritable, we have to compromise.
It's just part of being human.
Yeah. And even a real pet might chew up your favorite pair of shoes, requiring patience and training. A real human might criticize you or challenge your viewpoints.
Exactly.
But the familiar robot will never do any of those things. It is programmed to offer sterilized, perfect companionship. It will always be non-judgmental, always supportive, and always cater to your emotional needs through carefully calculated physical gestures.
It is a profound philosophical shift. We have to ask ourselves if human dependency on a machine is a healthy, sustainable substitute for human interaction.
Right.
Because while that frictionless support might be deeply comforting, especially for someone who is vulnerable, we really have to consider the long-term atrophy of our social skills.
If you get used to a relationship that requires zero compromise, do you lose the muscle of empathy for real humans?
That's the fear.
It's like we are engineering a shortcut to feeling loved and understood, completely removing the actual risk, vulnerability, and effort that real love requires.
It is a bold gamble on how we might eventually live alongside artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
For decades, we have strictly kept AI in the realm of pure utility. We wanted it to do our math, organize our files, and sweep our floors. Bringing it into the realm of our emotional ecosystems, it changes the definition of what a machine is actually for.
It really is a staggering paradigm shift. To step back and look at the entire journey we've taken on this deep dive today, we started by looking at Colin Angle's massive pivot from the hum of vacuum cleaners to the quiet, physical presence of robotic companions.
And we explored the complex mechanisms of effective computing.
Right, where cameras analyze our blink rates and skin flush to calculate our stress levels
Right.
without us ever saying a word.
We also unpacked the highly intentional choice to use the silent treatment, mimicking pet behavior to bypass our human stubbornness and persuade us through empathy rather than instruction.
Then we tackled the privacy puzzle. We broke down how edge computing and onboard neural processing units keep your sensitive emotional data locked inside your own house, acting like a private diary that never leaves the building.
A very crucial piece of the puzzle.
Definitely. And finally, we arrived at the ultimate philosophical stakes, the danger of replacing the messy, necessary friction of human relationships with the sterilized perfection of a machine. It is a lot to process.
It certainly is.
So I want to turn this over to you listening right now. Take a moment and look around your own living space.
Just take a look around.
Yeah, look at the smart speakers, the automated thermostats, the screens demanding your attention. The next time one of those devices chimes or vibrates or sends you a sterile notification, ask yourself, would you rather it just stick to setting timers and vacuuming the floor, or would you actually want it to recognize that you've had a really hard, stressful day, walk over, and offer you a gentle, robotic nuzzle?
And as you reflect on that, I will leave you with this final lingering thought to mull over. If we successfully engineer robots that offer perfect, unconditional, non-judgmental emotional support, might we eventually lose our tolerance for each other, preferring the flawless company of our machines over the messy, complex, and highly judgmental realities of human relationships?